Well, here we are, Andy, back in a day in Miami. So our Day in Miami family, we promised this to you. We said we were going to bring the candidates. Candidates came to a Day in Miami, and guess what? Now we're down to 2. And we are proud to present our commissioner, Eileen Higgins, that she is now the female. We talked about this, right? Or would you be if you become elected, you would be the first female, I think, mayor of City of Miami.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
That's a big one.
And this is a runoff election, December 9th.
Yes, that's
December,
right.
yeah.
Get the right date?
December 9th. It's a Tuesday.
This is important, guys, because, everybody talks about the sense that, we're so bad in these runoffs. And I think it's everybody needs to put that on their calendar. If you really want to make a difference, December 9th, you got to go out there and you got to go vote. So, Commissioner, take us to the fact of, we spoke about this in the first time around, and you were confident that you were going to be in the runoff because you had said, you were walking, you were getting all this feedback from all the people. What can we say right now, Eileen Higgins runoff? What are we doing different to make this happen?
We're doing nothing differently. We're doing a lot, but we're doing the same things.
Okay.
Right? The strategy for the first round is the same as the strategy for the second round, which I was the only candidate who ran a citywide race. Right? I knocked on doors in every neighborhood with every kind of person. I didn't run a Democratic race, didn't run a Republican race, didn't run an independent race. And that showed out on Election Day. In all 5 of the city commission districts, I was in the first place in all 5 of them. And so it was really important for me to win citywide because when 13 people are in the race for the first round, you're not going to be everybody's first choice. But you want to make sure if their candidate's isn't in, that you're their second choice. And so now we're back out knocking on those exact same doors, calling those same people, but it's not the first time we've met them. This is probably the 5th or 6th time we've talked to them. And so that's really how you harness momentum for the second round is go back and ask again.
How do you get them excited to get out and vote? The last vote, I think, 20%
we discussed it was about 21%. That
How
came
do you
out
get
the
them
vote.
excited? There were some commissioners.
But this is a good analysis that Commissioner said. What's the analysis?
Well, okay, so this is fascinating. We can say, 21% of the only 21% of the population voted, and that sounds really depressing. But that was record turnout for City of Miami mayor's race.
That's great.
So that's both amazing and depressing at the same time.
I saw some commissioner votes, and people that won for commission, there were 3,000 votes in the district.
Yeah, that's typical. You can be a commissioner with 2,000 votes.
So what is it that we can tell all those people out there? Why is it so important for those people to come out now in this runoff, Commissioner?
The direction of our city's at stake, and let's be very clear. 9 out of every 10 governmenty things that affects us are happening to us locally, right? We have a pothole. We'd like to have a new 4-way stop on our street. We might want a traffic circle here. Our street floods. We need to build affordable housing. Our small business needs support and guidance on how it can grow. None of that's coming from the federal government. That's coming from who you elect here. So if we want our community to be strong, to have a functioning government versus one that is in chaos and disarray, as we've seen in the city of Miami, it's important to vote. That's how we get those things.
Okay, and I think another big question is, what's the difference between you and the other person that's running against you?
So I have a track record of results, right? My opponent's a very eloquent man, and he talks a lot about what he might do. And I just talk about things that I've already done, right? When I got elected 8 years ago as commissioner, top priority was housing. I sit here now, 4,000 units of affordable and workforce housing are already open, another 3,000 in the pipeline. So you can see in the debates, when I talk about accomplishments on housing, he's talking about ideas on housing. This is the same person that was a city manager for 2 years. He had time to build affordable housing. Well, maybe not, because he also ran the permitting building department, which can't get anything approved. So I don't know. But that's the difference, right? When I talk about transportation, I'm the only commissioner probably in the history of the county that's gotten federal funding for 2 mass transit lines. One of them opened about 4 weeks ago, and the other is to have commuter rail between downtown Miami and Aventura with 3 stops in Miami. And by the way, I got all that funding from Republican administrations. So I am the person that, one, gets things done, has a track record of results, and shows that I can work across party lines.
So that brings up a good point,
Yeah.
working with the Republicans. So I was visiting with someone a couple of days ago, and they said, "Oh, do you know Eileen Higgins?" And I said, "Funny enough, I do. She was a county commissioner and a big supporter of what we did at River Landing, and we've become friendly. I didn't expect her support for River Landing because I was told liberal, socialist, whatever, but I did earn your trust and support, and I do appreciate that." So they said, "Well, all my Republican friends are telling me I must vote for Eileen Higgins because the alternative is not good for the city." That's what a Republican said to me.
Well,
And I go, "Well, why wouldn't you vote for her then?" And he's, "Well, I don't know her, and I'm told she's a socialist." And so I'm sort of wondering, building public housing,
yeah.
why is that
Well,
socialist?
Commissioner, are you a socialist?
Well, I'm a mechanical engineer, so I know that is really dull to report about in the news. And I remember in 2018 when they started to call me names like that. The very first time my opponent in 2018 called me that, I knew I was going to win, right? Because they stopped talking about the issues and they stopped talking about my skill set and my experience. They could never counter me as a person who works every day for the people. And so they just started name calling. And so it's the same. They did it in 2018. They did it in 2020. They did it in 2024. Now they're doing it now. It didn't work then. Not going to know now. Not going to work now because the residents that I've represented for 8 years, right? And I represent a 73% Hispanic, primarily Republican district. And those folks have voted for me 3 times. It is because of my work ethic. Where did I learn that work ethic? In the private sector, right? Working all over the world, starting in manufacturing. So when I look at our community's issues and problems, I don't think, oh, Lordy, nothing can be done. I look at them from an engineer's perspective and say, yeah, these are things that we need to find a path to resolve. And, let's take flooding, right? Flooding they're engineering solutions. The only way to get these public work projects to stop flooding on our streets is to start building them. The only way the city can build them is if they can get permits for them. They can't issue permits for their own projects. And that's the permitting department that my opponent ran. So when they call me names, that makes me feel a little more confident because they're not talking about me. They're talking about some amorphous idea and ideology that, I guess they read manifestos all the time. I don't understand why they waste their time with that. You know what I read? The Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, MUTCD, because we need to figure out how we can build traffic circles and speed bumps more quickly and less expensively. Those are the kinds of things that I read.
Well, so in that retrospect that we were talking about, we talked about this the first time, and I want the viewers again to talk about this. What about all the high rises? Are we going to continue? Are we going to continue supporting more high rises in the city of Miami? I mean, do we need more? I mean, a lot of people are talking about a lot of people coming to Miami, with things happening in New York. There's a talk, and every news cycle will tell you either people want to either come to Miami or go to Dallas or go to Texas. How are you visioning becoming mayor and embracing that?
So my opinion on density has not changed, and it isn't going to change. It is very appropriate near mass transit stations. Very appropriate, right? Because, I'll give you an example. We just broke ground on we just opened a beautiful building right next door to the Brickell train station. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's tall. It's 29 stories, not tall like some of the luxury spots, but a nice tall building. And in that building, we have 92 low-income seniors paying between $200 and $300 a month for their rent. Then we've got another 100 units that are for younger people, working people. Those are also income capped at the workforce level. And then we have another 200 units that are market rate. Those folks have higher paying jobs. They can afford it. But what's happening when you build near transit is these folks don't need a car. They can walk to Metro Rail, Metro Mover, ton of the city trolleys routes. They're right next to the Underline, and they're right next to Southside Park. And their kids can walk literally half a block to Southside Elementary and Middle School. So when you build density near transit, you're actually helping with traffic, right? Because you're creating a walkable lifestyle for people. But that has to taper down, right? Because we need housing for all kinds of people. We need single-family houses for folks that are raising kids and they need a backyard to roam around in and run around in and enjoy. And then we also know it's expensive. We also do need to have things like townhouses, which would be more like a starter home. And so there is density that is appropriate, particularly where there's transit, and then density that's inappropriate when you're further away. And let me tell you what the state has done with this Live Local. That's the thing that scares me. The state preempted us, and now essentially you can build as high as you want, anywhere you want in the city, even next to single-family homes.
Wow.
And that was a real tragedy when that got passed in Tallahassee, because I'll give you an example just from the district I've represented in the Roads, right? That's a single-family home neighborhood. But it's within a mile of Brickell, and the law says you can build as high as you want within a mile radius. You just model the building that's there. So there's, particularly up at 36th Street in that area, I think in the city, they have something like 10 or 11 of these Live Local projects that they don't even have to come to a public hearing about. So we have some real issues with managing density given what the state has imposed, because locally we can control it. We can say we're going to have density near transit, but now these guys can build wherever they want.
The city of Miami passed Miami 21, which was supposed to set the skyline of Miami. So it was like a triangle going out from the center of downtown out to the outskirts of the city. So it was high rise, and then as you went out into the single family home neighborhoods, it became low rise and then single family homes. This Live Local means that you change your skyline and you can put up a big tall building almost anywhere you want. It's taking away the fabric of a neighborhood that was what Miami 21 was intended to create. Different neighborhoods for different kind of living lifestyles.
Right. So is that something we want to tackle?
We have to. It's yet another example of when you let the state interfere with local government, you can get really bad results. Their intention was to inspire the construction of workforce housing, but what they have inspired is huge buildings in places that are not set up for them, right? They're on arterial roads where we don't have a train station or a Metro Mover station. And it's just an example of things when you're always looking to let Tallahassee tell us what to do, they're willing to do it, but you're not going to always like what they tell us to do. And you have to be very careful to make sure that we defend our rights as a municipality and a county, because government closest to the people is the government that's best for the people. This is an example where the further away you go, the worse it gets.
Okay. So December, when how the election is?
December 9th.
December 9th.
You forgot that already.
No, but it's so December 9th, but hear me out. So December 9th, when and if you win, you're going to hit the road running. What's going to be, I know people like to ask and know this question, what's going to be that first thing that now Mayor Higgins wants to do in that first 100 days? Well,
the first week is obviously making sure that we're meeting with law enforcement, because the number one issue, it's the bread and butter. If you're not safe in your community, right? If the police aren't ready and the fire department can't put a fire out and they can't come pick your grandma up in an ambulance, it's an issue. So first priority is making sure that I meet with everybody from, police, fire, and emergency response. But the second thing is really focusing on the things that people are incredibly frustrated about, right? So there's permits that are just going to get out the door. The city of Miami has been sitting on dozens and dozens of crosswalks, some of which are next to a school, and have been in permitting for 3 years. They're going to be issued, and the money is there for the permits. These are projects even the private sector wants to build. So we're just going to start getting stuff out the door that is easy and simple, while we structurally reorganize the entire system for getting things done.
Apart from you continue, but why is that? Why has it been so hard to issue the permits? Does anybody have a a good common answer of what it's been so hard?
It's not hard.
So
Municipalities
what's the
all around the country do it. Nobody's paying attention, right?
But is it just because is it lack of staff? Is it lack of
It's
direction,
You've
leadership?
been victimized. You've been victimized.
I've been in the city I've been in the city permitting a long time. It's a mixed bag. There's a lot of turnover in the city building department, in the review department. Policies and procedures have changed multiple times. There's a staff shortage, so people left, but the jobs weren't filled. So now you have a backlog. They established a 14-day rule to review permits, but in a process. So one division reviews after the division before them, and so on and so on. Even though the city's computerized and it's online, you don't review at the same time. So there's a 14-day cycle per department.
Right.
And the city is overwhelmed.
Because the way I
staffing.
remember how permitting was, you know, that plans would just go to everybody in that same day. Everybody would take a look at it, more or less, in the county years back.
It's still, the county system, which I worked very hard on to create a whole new computerized system to make it work better. Everything is reviewed at the same time, right? The plumbing guys can look at it at the same time as the tree guys. What difference does it make? Why are we waiting?
That doesn't make sense.
It makes no sense. Let's also remember, Andy talks about these vacancies. You see how some of the commissioners have mistreated city employees from the dais, like public humiliations, public firing of officials. And so there's a morale issue among city employees. There's a reason there's that many vacancies. By the way, there's a reason a lot of the city employees decided to go work at the county. The county is not a toxic work environment. So there is going to be repair work need to be done with the culture at the city of Miami to make employees feel supported. And the other thing we got to remember on issuing of permits is they're afraid to issue permits. Because if they issue permits to anybody's quote unquote political enemies, they could lose their job. And if you have been in that position now for over 8 years, that becomes ingrained in your behavior. I'm afraid to issue permit. I'm afraid to issue permit. I could lose my job. I pay my mortgage with this. I put my kids through school with this. So it's just they need a mayor that protects them from the retribution of these commissioners.
I mean, I feel like where are we?
I haven't experienced that, thank God, but there is a lack of staffing and an inability to get your reviews done, overlapping reviews done. And while you're waiting for divisions to get assigned to your permit, I have a tenant putting up a sign. It's an interior sign. It really doesn't require much review. It's interior. It's not seen to the public. It really only needs an electric permit. It doesn't even have to worry about hurricane code because it's interior.
Inside.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for zoning and historical review for them to get a sign permit.
Isn't this a brand new building?
Yeah, but
just checking.
Because
5 years old. It's historic.
Because
I was going to say. So why is it historical on this?
You got to check the box.
Got it.
You got to check the box. So it hasn't been assigned to a reviewer to check the box, simply to say not applicable.
Right.
That's all they have to do.
So listen, there's all across America, artificial intelligence is being deployed. City of Honolulu, which I know may sound strange, but they get hurricanes and they get tsunamis. So they have a very strict building code. They have cut their permitting time in half by deploying artificial intelligence. And at City of Boston is now deploying that software. We've got cities and municipalities all across Miami. We've got to get this basic stuff of you had to check these boxes. You needed to submit 12 PDFs. One PDF is missing. There's zero reason to wait for a human being to tell you you're missing a PDF or haven't checked a box.
If you need Manny and I to go on a technology tour to Boston or Honolulu, we're good. We're good. You let us know. We'll be there.
We're good. We're good.
I'll do
Honolulu.
We'll do the research.
Now, what about Northern Michigan in January? Anybody interested?
No. Pass. Yeah, we'll pass on that one. I mean, I think we'll be able to get out anywhere to go see what's going on. But I think that's so important because, everybody speaks about the fact of, the whole permitting, I still have not been able to understand that. of the years, why? And I know you said it, but has this been something that our actual commission now has taken upon themselves to try and review, or what is out there that has
they've given up,
hesitated not to do this?
They've given up, and I'll tell you how I know. Commissioner King has a permit clinic in her district because she can't get the permitting people to help her people. Manola Reyes and now Commissioner Rosado has a permit clinic in his district because they can't get the city
he mentioned
to
that
do
the
it
other
all,
day he was with us. Yes.
Right? So basically, they've given up. And that's not their job to go in and be the government. That's my job to go in there and make sure that the city is running.
And the
properly.
system they put in this iBuild system. It is user friendly. It's a good system.
Right.
It's just not maximized to its potential, whether that's because of staffing or training or the 14-day rule for review. It's a good system.
Well, and then we have too many rules. Like I'll give you an example on surveys. All right, so you're a homeowner and you want to do something in your house. The survey can't be more than 6 months old, but you could stay in permitting for a year and a half, which means you have to keep doing the survey.
Yeah, and a survey costs you probably $3,000 or $4,000 every time you need it.
So the county.
So the one you had is out the door because.
And nothing's happened. You haven't had a permit
and
to
great
do
business
anything.
because the surveyor, because they're state licensed,
right?
And they sign under notary affidavit, penalty of perjury.
Does that mean
they say, oh, I can't just update your survey. I got to go back out and resurvey to make sure you didn't move your house.
So can we say there's a lot of surveyors working in the city of Miami? They love the city of Miami system.
The city's great.
But it also means people do a lot of work without permits.
Well, that was going to be my other question. Does that lead to a lot of people just saying, screw this, I can't deal with this. I'm just going to go ahead, and if I get caught, I get caught.
Right.
If I don't, I don't.
I mean, just things that are just dumb. You need to replace your front door. Now, that doesn't take years, but it can take weeks and months. You should just get a same-day permit to replace your front door, and then you snap a photograph of it and you send it, right? Fences for the county. In the county system, you get your building permit for the fence. They do go out and inspect when the holes have been, because you can't self-correct. Like if the holes are in the wrong place or they accidentally end up on your neighbor's property, you can never fit, then it costs you a ton of money to rip it out.
Correct.
So they have one inspection out there. And then at the end, you just send a photograph in saying, I'm done. Right? And if they want to come out and inspect, they do. If they need a video, if anything goes wrong, the city goes out there 3 times. They look at the holes. Yep, there's a hole. Then they put the little sticks in the hole. Yep, the little sticks are in the hole. Then they go out when the concrete's out. Yep, there. And then they said code enforcement. Easy peasy. Then they go out and send code enforcement, tell you it's in the wrong bloody place and make you rip it out. So it
could be frustrating.
It's crazy.
It could be frustrating.
They are making work, and I realize we all are like that. Everybody wants job security. So people are probably saying there is a little sense that, well, maybe if I'm a little behind, I'll always have my job. But we're 3 years behind on permitting. So if we could get to being, let's say, 5 months behind, you're always going to have a job.
Right.
And we're probably going to get more people coming in to legitimize their work and do it with permits rather than without permits.
You're going to get more investment
Correct.
in the city, which we need because there's a lot of land in the city that's worthy of redevelopment, especially with the population move still coming to Miami.
And it's not even about land. It's about buildings that need upgrading, right? We have people that are just refusing to upgrade older buildings inside. And that means we don't have good office space. We don't have nicer homes in older buildings. And it's just not, this is a city that right now isn't good to run a business in. And by the way, we've been talking about permitting now as if you're a homeowner, but imagínate if you are a small business owner. They do the same thing to you. You rent your space. You probably negotiate, 9 months a year? You're in this business, a year of free rent, right, while you get to build out your store, your office, and you don't even have your permits. I know small business people that have gone out of business before they've even opened.
Well, and to that point, we were just we were down by the Flagler area for the DDA for the tree lighting.
Yeah.
And we did a live podcast from there, and that was a big issue that a lot of the storefront owners were talking about, because so you have the DDA giving incentives for people to come to the area, but then we had Commissioner Rosado on, and he was talking about how he's trying to help these people with his ticket, with his clinic of permits, not ticket clinic, but the permit clinic, to go ahead and try and facilitate this quicker to the people. So again, you have one department trying to, incentivize people to come over, but then you have another department saying, well, you can have this, but you got to wait until I give you these permits.
To your point, over the last 2 years, we've gone from saying to tenants it's going to take 9 months for you to build out your space. We're now saying 18 months.
Yeah.
You doubled
it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy because it takes away also from those tenants and me saying, do I want to be here?
We have a tenant who's getting ready to open. They were supposed to open in July. They'll open now in December. They had pre-sold memberships to their yoga and Pilates studio. Their members are very frustrated, and there's nothing the owner can do.
This is a city that's not functioning. This is why I'm running, right? It's not going to be a fun job, by the way. I'm the only person that said I'll do it full time, unlike all the rest of the people that were running. So I'll be there every day, and I'm going to go to work every day. And it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be fast. We've got good people working in the city with a terrible system.
Well, I hope you make it fun.
I am going to make it fun.
Great.
You know me. I have fun even when I'm actually happy even when I'm in a bad mood. You've known me a long time.
That's even better sometimes. That's even better.
I rarely get glum.
So I think the most important...
She does laugh a lot.
Yeah, she does.
She does.
So I think the most important thing right now, Commish, is for you to tell all those City of Miami voters, give them our last spiel.
Okay, my last spiel.
This is it.
Folks.
Why Eileen Higgins for mayor of City of Miami?
If you want somebody that goes to work every single day for you, please vote for me on December 9th. I have a history and a track record of making sure we're building affordable housing, fixing our broken permitting system, making sure small businesses are supported with access to capital as well as training, working on public works projects, improving transit. So that's all I would love to do for you as mayor. I do promise to make sure I do this with integrity. There's going to be no yelling, no screaming. There's also going to be no corruption. So it's up to you. You can vote on December 9th. You can vote early, December 5th, 6th, and 7th, or vote by mail. Then you don't even have to leave your house. You can just plop it in the mailbox.
Well, Andy, there's no excuse for people out there to say, if you want to make a difference, like I always say to people say, oh, I can't believe so-and-so. What, did you vote? Did you go out and vote? So if let's try and make another record.
Right? Stop complaining. Go vote.
Let's try and make another record on December 9th. You know what I'm saying? And see if really the City of Miami can go ahead and go over that record, that number, especially in a runoff. Everybody always says, oh, the runoff. But I listen, guys, if you want to make a difference, whoever you want to vote for, go and vote. That's the most important.
Manny's expecting all his viewers to break the record.
Why not? At least the ones in City of Miami.
Yeah.
At least the ones in the City of Miami, go and break that record. And again, there's no excuse. There's early voting. You can vote by mail and everything else. Well, Commissioner, thank you for coming again
Thanks
to
for having
Miami
me.
and sharing your views once again. We like to go ahead again and shed that spotlight to everybody and tell them why you're running and why you want to take this endeavor on.
And good luck in the final days.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. All right. Stay tuned for the next one. Thank you.